Even the defense has noticed. Kid won't quit, the middle linebacker admits during a water break. Derrick overhears, his frustration mounting. This isn't how it's supposed to go. Walk-ons know their place. They don't outshine stars. Tomorrow, Derrick announces loudly, making sure Eli can hear. You and me, one-on-one. Let's see what you've really got. The challenge hangs in the air like a thundercloud. Players exchange glances. Coaches pretend not to hear. Eli simply nods once, water bottle halfway to his lips. Whenever you're ready. Word spreads like wildfire. By the time afternoon practice rolls around, the entire team forms a loose circle around the 40-yard line. Even coaches hang back, curious. This isn't part of the official practice plan, but no one's stopping it. Derrick strolls to the center, custom-designed cleats gleaming in the afternoon sun. He spins a football in his hands like it's an extension of his body. His smile is all predatory confidence. Simple drill, he announces. I throw, you defend. 3 reps. Show us if you belong here. He points at Eli with the football. Or, if you're just wasting a roster spot. Eli steps forward, his worn practice jersey hanging loose on his frame. Someone snickers about the hole in his shorts. He doesn't seem to notice or care. Ready when you are, he says, voice steady. Coach Mitchell folds his arms. Keep it clean. This isn't authorized, but I'll allow it as a team-building exercise. The warning in his tone is clear. Derrick nods to his favorite receiver, Marcus. Run a post, I'll hit you in stride. Marcus jogs into position. Eli lines up across from him in perfect defensive stance. No wasted movement, no trash talk. Hike, Derrick calls, dropping back in a textbook 5-step drop. He pump fakes left, then unleashes a bullet toward Marcus, who breaks inside on his route. The ball never reaches its target. Eli reads the play perfectly. His break so explosive it's as if he knew the route before it developed. He steps in front of Marcus, plucks the ball from the air, and secures it against his chest before landing gracefully in bounds. An interception. Perfect technique. Stunned silence falls over the field before a few sophomores whoop in appreciation. Derrick's face darkens. Lucky guess, he mutters. Again! The second rep begins. This time Derrick motions for a deep fade route. The receiver takes off and Eli shadows him step for step, staying in his hip pocket despite giving up 3 inches. In height, Derrick launches a perfect spiral, dropping it just over the receiver's shoulder where only he should be able to reach it. But Eli is already there, leaping at the perfect moment, his hand swatting the ball away with such force it spirals into the air and lands 20 yards downfield. The gathered players murmur in appreciation. Someone whispers, "Damn, that's NFL-level coverage." Derrick's jaw clenches so tight a muscle twitches in his cheek. His perfect record, his untouchable status, slipping away with each perfect defensive play. Full contact, he announces suddenly, stepping closer. His voice drops so only Eli can hear. Let's see how tough you really are. Eli doesn't blink. Your call. The energy shifts. Players nudge each other. This isn't just a drill anymore. It's personal. Derrick backs up, signals the snap, but this time instead of throwing, he tucks the ball and takes off running. It's a designed quarterback keep meant to force Eli to make a one-on-one tackle, or be embarrassed. What Derrick doesn't expect is the closing speed. One moment, Eli is 10 yards away. The next, he's a missile. Form perfect, shoulders square, helmet up. The collision echoes across the field like a thunderclap. Derrick feels the impact before he registers what happened. One moment he's cutting upfield, the next he's flat on his back, helmet askew, the football spinning away across the turf. The Texas sky spins above him as he blinks away stars. Not just a tackle, a statement. The team's collective intake of breath is audible. Nobody hits Derrick Lawson. It's an unwritten rule, a career killer. The franchise quarterback stays upright, always. Eli stands, brushes grass from his knees, and extends a hand down. "You good?" The simple question burns worse than the hit. Derrick ignores the offered hand, pushing himself up slowly. Every instinct screams to lash out, to put this nobody back in his place. But his legs feel like jelly, his pride wounded deeper than his body. "That's what happens when you run," Eli says quietly, for Derrick's ears only. "Next time, trust your arm." Coach Mitchell steps in, sensing dangerous waters. "That's enough for today. Regular drills. Now." The circle breaks reluctantly. Players disperse with backward glances, buzzing with what they've witnessed, the power structure of the team visibly shifting before their eyes. The Texas sun beats down mercilessly on Lone Star University's practice field. Sweat-drenched jerseys cling to muscular frames as 50 young men battle through afternoon drills. The rhythmic clack of pads colliding punctuates the humid air. Again. "Faster this time." Coach Mitchell's voice booms across the field. He doesn't need a whistle. His command carries like thunder. In the center of it all stands Derrick Lawson, jersey number 12, his golden arm launching perfect spirals with effortless precision. His teammates orbit around him like planets to a sun. When he laughs, they laugh. When he frowns, they worry. D1. "Let's see that arm." The offensive coordinator calls out the play, and Derrick responds with a casual nod. He doesn't need to try, not really. Every movement screams natural talent, refined by years of private coaching and summer camps his father's hedge fund money easily afforded. 20 yards away, wearing cleats one size too small and practice gear from 3 seasons ago, Eli Brooks watches. His walk-on status earned him a spot on the roster, but little else. No scholarship, no fancy gear, no respect, just a chance he intends to make the most of. "Third string, you're up," Coach barks, and Eli jogs onto the field with the other backups and hopefuls. The starters, Derrick among them, take a water break, barely paying attention to the scrubs running basic drills. The coach calls for a deep root. Eli lines up, eyes focused, body coiled like a spring. The backup quarterback takes the snap, scans, and launches the ball downfield, a wobbly throw that sails too high and too far. Without hesitation, Eli accelerates, his worn cleats digging into the turf as he tracks the ball's trajectory. 3. Steps ahead of the defender, he launches himself into the air, extending fully. Fingertips stretch, connect, secure. He lands in stride and continues running. The field goes quiet. Even the coaches stop mid-sentence. Derrick, water bottle halfway to his lips, freezes. His eyes narrow as he watches Eli hand the ball to the coach and jog back to position without celebration. "Lucky catch," someone mutters. Derrick doesn't respond. He's too busy watching as Eli repeats the feat on the very next play. And the next. No wasted motion. No showboating. Just pure, hungry efficiency. "Who the hell is that kid?" Derrick finally asks, not bothering to hide the edge in his voice. Coach Mitchell overhears, a slight smile playing at the corner of his mouth. "That's our newest walk-on, Brooks, from East Houston." Derrick takes another look. This time, his jaw tightens. Nobody steals the spotlight at his practice. Nobody. The locker room buzzes with post-practice chatter. Derrick holds court by his custom locker, teammates laughing at his every word. The walk-ons and backups sit in the far corner, invisible until needed. "Hey, charity case," Derrick calls out, his voice cutting through conversations. "Nice hands. Today. Where'd you get those cleats, Goodwill?" The room falls silent as all eyes turn to Eli, who methodically continues packing his bag. "I asked you a question," Derrick presses, standing now. At 6'3", he towers over most players. His perfectly tailored practice gear contrasts sharply with Eli's faded hand-me-downs. Eli looks up, face neutral. "They work fine," he says simply, then returns to his task. Laughter erupts around Derrick, who winks at his audience. "They work fine," he mimics. "Just like your scholarship application, right?" Oh, wait. More laughter. A few players look uncomfortable but say nothing. Nobody crosses Derrick Lawson, not if they want playing time. My high school water boy had better gear, Derrick continues, warming to his subject. What did you do? Walk. All the way from, where was it? East Houston. Eli zips his bag and stands. For a moment, something flashes in his eyes, something hard and dangerous, before disappearing behind quiet dignity. Without a word, he walks past Derrick and out the door. That's right, Derrick calls after him. Keep walking. That's all you'll be doing on game day anyway. Assistant Coach Reynolds steps from his office, having witnessed the exchange. He waits until the room clears before approaching Derrick. You know, Reynolds says quietly, I watched that kid's high school tape. Trained. With pros every summer. Not because Daddy paid for it, because they saw something special. Derrick scoffs. He's a nobody with bargain bin gear. He plays like he's starving, Reynolds counters. Because he is. For this. For respect. For a shot. He shakes his head. Be careful who you dismiss, Lawson. The next day's practice is worse. Derrick makes sure Eli runs with the scout team, facing the starting defense, a punishment detail designed to humble and bruise. Yet Eli doesn't break. Each punishing hit, each deliberate collision just seems to focus him more. By the end of drills, Derrick stalks to the sideline, snatching a water bottle from a startled freshman. His mind races, searching for an explanation beyond the obvious. He was beaten. Cleanly, thoroughly, publicly. Not bad for a walk-on, huh? Assistant Coach Reynolds appears beside him, voice carefully neutral. Derrick glares. He got lucky. That wasn't luck. That was hunger. Reynolds watches as Eli rejoins the defensive backs, seamlessly integrating back into drills. Know what your problem is, Lawson? You've never been hungry a day in your life. The words land like another hit. Derrick watches Eli through narrowed eyes. The walk-on doesn't celebrate, doesn't preen or posture, just returns to work like nothing happened. One hit doesn't make a player, Derrick mutters. No, Reynolds agrees, but it can remake one. Practice resumes, but nothing is the same. Every throw Derrick makes feels watched, judged. Teammates look at him differently, some with concern, others with something worse, doubt. In the locker room afterward, the usual circle of admirers keeps a respectful distance. The throne feels suddenly precarious, the crown heavy. Derrick slams. His locker shut, frustrated beyond words. Coach Mitchell stands in the doorway, arms folded. My office. Now. The walk to the coach's office feels like a death march. Derrick rehearses excuses, explanations, anything to salvage his reputation. Mitchell closes the door behind them, settles into his chair. Do you know why Brooks is here? Why he walked on without a scholarship, working nights to pay tuition? Derrick shrugs sullenly. Mitchell slides a folder across the desk. Because I missed him. I made a mistake, and he's making sure I never forget it. Derrick opens the folder and freezes. Inside are newspaper clippings, stats sheets, and a highlight. Real transcript that tells a story he never expected. Newspaper headlines from the Houston Chronicle tell a story that makes Derrick's stomach clench. East Side phenom breaks county records. Brooks leads underfunded team to state championship. Division I schools miss diamond in the rough. Derrick flips through scouting reports that somehow never reached Lone Star's recruiting. CT office. 3-star athlete with 4-star potential. Trained summers with his cousin, a professional cornerback for the Eagles. Led his team in interceptions despite opposing quarterbacks actively avoiding his side of the field. He turned down 2 small school scholarships to walk on here, Coach Mitchell says, watching Derrick's expression change. Said he wanted to test himself against the best. Wanted to earn it. Why didn't we recruit him? Derrick asks, unable to hide his confusion. Mitchell leans back. Budget cuts. Too focused on 5 stars. bad intel. He shrugs. Pick your excuse. Truth is, we screwed up, and now he's making a point every single day. Derrick stares at a photo of Eli, drenched in sweat, holding a championship trophy aloft with teammates from a school with half the resources of most competitors. No fancy uniforms, no state-of-the-art facilities, just grit and talent. He works night security to pay tuition, Mitchell continues, shows up to every practice despite pulling 8-hour shifts, never complains, never makes excuses. His eyes narrow. Sound like anyone you know? Because it sure as hell doesn't sound like you lately. The accusation stings because it's true. Derrick has been coasting on reputation, on his father's connections, on the natural talent that's always come. Easy. His workout gear, those cleats you mocked? Mitchell nods toward the folder. His high school couldn't afford new uniforms. They played in hand-me-downs from the wealthy school across town. Still beat them by 20 points. Derrick closes the folder, a complicated mix of emotions churning in his gut. Embarrassment, respect, something like shame. So what now? He asks finally. Mitchell stands. That's up to you. You can sulk about being shown up. You can continue making an enemy of the best defensive player who's walked through that door in my 15 years coaching here. He pauses. Or you can recognize what's happening. And what's that? Iron sharpens iron, son. Right now, you're being sharpened whether you like it or not. Mitchell opens his office door. Figure out if you're going to break or get stronger. Derrick walks back to the now empty locker room, his mind racing. Through the window, he spots a solitary figure running conditioning drills alone on the darkening field. Eli. Still working, still hungry. Derrick watches for a long moment, then makes his decision. The next day's practice feels different. Players arrive early, sensing something in the air. Word has spread about yesterday's showdown, about Eli's background. Sides are forming, those loyal to Derrick's established reign and those rooting for the underdog who earned his spot the hard way. Derrick arrives last, his customary entrance minus the usual swagger. His eyes scan the field until he finds Eli, already warmed up, running routes with machine-like precision. Listen up, Coach Mitchell's voice booms across the field. Today, we're focusing on situational drills. Offense versus defense. Game, speed, tempo. He points to Derrick. First team offense, then to Eli. First team defense. Murmurs ripple through the ranks. Eli promoted to first string after one practice? Unprecedented. Derrick steps into the huddle, feeling the weight of expectation. Pro set, red motion, Z-cross on 2, he calls, voice steady despite the pressure building in his chest. His offensive. Line nods, receivers break, and they approach the line of scrimmage. Across from them, Eli settles into his cornerback stance, eyes locked on Derrick. No trash talk, no intimidation tactics, just pure, focused intensity. Down, set, hut. Derrick takes the snap, drops back, scanning the field as the play develops. His primary receiver breaks open on the crossing route, but Eli is already jumping the pattern, reading Derrick's eyes. Derrick pump fakes, causing Eli to hesitate for a split second, then launches a perfect spiral to his secondary target on the sideline. The ball zips just beyond Eli's outstretched fingertips, landing perfectly in the receiver's hands. Completion. 22 yards. A thin smile crosses Derrick's face as he jogs back to the huddle. Eli nods once, acknowledgement of a battle joined. The next play, Eli blankets his receiver so completely Derrick has nowhere to go with the ball. He's forced to throw it away. Back and forth they go, move and counter-move, each playing at a level that elevates the entire practice. The other players sense it, rising to match the intensity. What started as personal becomes professional, two elite athletes pushing each other to new heights. Goal line situation, coach calls. Offense needs a touchdown. Defense needs a stop. The teams line up at the 3-yard line, everything condensed, magnified by proximity to the end zone. Derrick surveys the defense, sees Eli lined up man-to-man against his best receiver. A chess match now. Derrick calls an audible, switching from a pass play to a misdirection run. The ball is snapped. Derrick executes a perfect fake, drawing the defense to the right while his running back cuts left. But Eli isn't fooled. He diagnoses the play instantly, slips his blocker, and meets the running back head-on at the 1-yard line. The collision echoes across the field, both players fighting for every inch. When the whistle blows, the ball is inches short of the goal line. Defense wins. Teammates rush to celebrate with Eli. Derrick stands alone at the line of scrimmage, watching. Then, unexpectedly, he approaches the celebration. Players part, sensing a confrontation. Instead, Derrick extends his hand to Eli. Hell of a play. The field goes silent. Eli looks at the outstretched hand, then at Derrick's face, searching for mockery or deceit. Finding none, he grips it firmly. Hell of a fake, he replies. Almost had us. Something shifts in that moment. Respect, born from the purest kind of competition. Derrick tilts his head, studying Eli thoughtfully. You ever think about playing both ways? The days that follow transform Lone Star's football program. Eli's promotion to first-team defense remains permanent, earned through performance, not politics. Players who once snickered at his worn gear now study his technique, his work ethic, his unwavering focus. Derrick watches it all with new eyes. The kingdom he built on talent and privilege suddenly seems hollow compared to what Eli built through grit and determination. Not that Derrick has surrendered his position. If anything, he works harder now, stays later, digs deeper into the playbook. Iron sharpening iron. In the weight room, Derrick spots Eli struggling with a worn gym bag, the zipper finally giving. Out after years of use. Without comment, he tosses a new team duffel toward him. Equipment manager had an extra, he says simply. Eli hesitates, pride warring with practicality. Thanks, he finally says, transferring his gear to the new bag. They aren't friends, not yet, but the toxic rivalry has transformed into something productive. The team notices. Coaches notice. Energy at practice hits levels unseen in recent memory. You see what's happening? Assistant Coach Reynolds asks Mitchell as they watch from the sidelines. Mitchell nods. Whole team's elevating. When your leaders compete like that, no ego, just excellence, it lifts everyone. Reynolds smiles. Think Lawson learned something. More valuable than any play we could teach him. About time. Mitchell blows his whistle, ending practice. Sometimes the best lessons hurt the most. After everyone clears out, Derrick remains on the field alone, running through drop-back drills in the fading light. His earlier practice performance had been nearly perfect, yet here he is, grinding through fundamentals like a freshman fighting for a spot. From the shadows of the stadium tunnel, Eli watches for a moment before silently departing. He has a night shift to work, tuition to earn, dreams to chase. In the empty locker room, Derrick sits contemplatively, replaying mental footage of his one-on-one battle with Eli. The perfect reads, the anticipation, the fearlessness. For the first time in years, Derrick feels genuinely challenged. Not threatened, improved. Like a sword being tempered in the hottest fire, emerging stronger, sharper, more dangerous than before. He pulls out his phone, scrolls to his father's number, then pauses. The weekly call to complain about teammates, about coaches, about anyone who didn't recognize his greatness, a tradition suddenly embarrassing in hindsight. Instead, he opens his contact list and creates a new entry. Eli Brooks. Tomorrow, he'll suggest optional weekend workouts. Perhaps offer to help with connections for a proper scholarship. Not charity, earned respect between competitors. Derrick Lawson stands, locker room empty and quiet around him. He nods to himself once. Decision. Made. He needed this. All of it. The challenge. The humbling. The awakening. Across campus in a dimly lit library, Eli studies game film on a borrowed laptop, a security guard uniform laid out for his midnight shift. He doesn't know yet how much has changed. He's too busy focusing on tomorrow's practice, on the next opportunity to prove himself. The hunger never stops. Game day arrives with all the pageantry Texas college football commands. Lone Star Stadium pulses with energy. 80,000 fans decked in school colors, cheerleaders launching into practiced routines, the band blasting the fight song across the autumn air. Behind the inflatable tunnel, the team prepares for their season opener against rival State Tech. Months of practice, conditioning, and playbook study distilled into this moment. "Bring it in," Coach Mitchell calls, and the team forms a tight circle. Shoulder pads knock together, helmets gleam under the lights. You've put in the work. You've become a unit. Now show them who we are. Derrick stands at the front. Captains. Patch freshly sewn onto his pristine jersey. To his right, senior linebacker Jason Thomas, another captain. And to his left, surprising everyone including himself a week ago, stands Eli, the walk-on who earned a starting position. The nobody, who became essential. "Lawson, anything to add?" Mitchell asks. Derrick looks around the circle, at faces he's led for 3 years and others he's only just begun to know. His gaze lands on Eli. "Play hungry," he says simply. The team erupts, breaking the huddle with thunderous energy. They pour onto the field through the tunnel, smoke machines creating a dramatic entrance as the crowd roars its approval. In the organized chaos of warm-ups, Derrick finds himself near Eli, both going through their pregame routines. They haven't spoken much since yesterday's practice reveal, Coach's announcement that they would try Eli at receiver for certain offensive packages, playing both ways like football players of another era. "Ready for this?" Derrick asks, tossing a ball between his hands. Eli adjusts his gloves, new ones, team-issued, finally the right size. "Born ready." The stadium announcer calls for the teams to clear the field for the national anthem. As players line up along the sidelines, helmets under their arms, Derrick notices something. Eli's cleats, still the old worn ones despite being offered new equipment. "Thought they'd give you new cleats with the promotion," Derrick says, nodding. Downward. A ghost of a smile crosses Eli's face. "Some things you keep to remember where you came from." The anthem plays. The coin toss follows. Lone Star will receive. As the special teams unit jogs onto the field, Derrick reviews the opening offensive series in his mind. His eyes drift to the sideline where Eli waits with the defense, then to the laminated wristband containing the first 15 plays. Play number 3, the one they added yesterday. A designed pass to Eli, coming in as a surprise offensive weapon. The kickoff sails through the end zone. Touchback. Derrick buckles his chin strap and jogs onto the field, offense falling in behind him. 80,000 fans hold their collective breath. The season begins now. First play, complete pass, 12 yards, first down. Second play, running back breaks a tackle, gains 8. Derrick glances to the sideline. Assistant Coach Reynolds signals the substitution package. Eli jogs onto the field, lining up at slot receiver. The defense hasn't prepared for this. There's nothing in their scouting report about the walk-on cornerback. Playing offense. State Tech's defensive backs point, adjust, confusion evident in their hurried communication. Derrick calls the audible. Eli's eyes meet his across the formation. A shared understanding passes between them. The challenge, the competition, the respect. The ball is snapped. Everything slows down. Eli explodes off the line. Who wins this time?